Thanking you for joining us today, December 15, 2022. It's a Thursday, and since it's December 15, sampung araw na lang, Pasko na po, officially in shape, mentally ready for the challenges of the next 10 days para tayong magma-marathon. But, it's all something to look forward to. I do hope in one way or the other, you are all working up the Christmas holiday spirit. Thank you for joining us today here on Agenda. And I'm your host, Cito Beltran, thanking all of those who are subscribers of Cignal TV and those who follow us via Facebook and of course on YouTube. Maraming salamat din po sa PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet for keeping us on the air online. Okay, and today our daily starter, let's listen in. Malaking bagay po ito. It's important for you, especially those who are now making plans for 2023, okay? And the daily starter goes, decide what kind of life you really want, and then say no to everything that isn't that. Okay? Kung gusto po ninyo ay buhay, if you want a life that is full of joy, full of happiness, then try to remove all the negativity in your life. If you want a healthy life, then you're going to have to remove all the things that don't contribute to a healthy life. The point here is focus, being concentrated, being dedicated to the goal, the life you want, and to say no to everything that isn't that. So malaking bagay po. Very simple, but very particular. Okay, now let's take a look at the front page of the Philippine Star, December 15, 2022. The headline, BBM pushes ASEAN-EU trade. Okay, so President Bongbong Marcos is in Brussels, Belgium, where the EU-ASEAN summit is being held. And that photo there is with King Philippe of Belgium and President Marcos arriving for an audience at the Royal Palace in Brussels 2 days ago. Medyo delayed na po yung photo, but during his speech there, BBM pushed for the promotion of trade between Belgium and the Philippines and between ASEAN and European Union member countries. It was also mentioned in the report that coming soon, direct Manila-Brussels flight. Pinag-usapan po, they are talking about opening a line or a flight between Manila and Brussels so that Filipinos who want to visit Western Europe, particularly Belgium, can take a direct flight. In fact, nung nalaman ng kaibigan ko si Mr. Serge Capistrano, sabi niya, Cito, bibisitahin ko na yung kaibigan natin sa Belgium. Okay, yan po. No? But wait, because that takes a few months at the very least. But apparently, the European airport counterparts, the Belgium counterparts, are interested in such a flight. And marami rin pong Pilipino sa Belgium. Meron bang lugar sa Pilipinas na walang Pilipino? Ay, sa mundo na walang Pilipino. Okay. Anyway, at the top of the front page, Senate probe sought on NBP inmates' debts. Senator Risa Ontiveros has called upon her fellow senators not to ignore and not to disregard the reports, allegations that the drug lords and drug dealers who allegedly died of COVID were actually murdered, and that the Senate should look into the matter and find out what can be done. Quite honestly, what the Senate should really do is chop-chopin na po yung New Bilibid prison na yan dahil napaka-old na, napaka-gulo na, at napaka-criminalized na. Just cut it up, split it up, and distribute it all over the Philippines so that they are so small in their configuration in the provinces, and it becomes very uninteresting to the drug lords or the kingpins of crime in the country and the politicians. Okay, the good news, Pfizer, AstraZeneca agree to have vax purchase details bared, okay? Pfizer and Astra, the producers of COVID-19 vaccines and who were among those who supplied vaccines to the Philippines, have agreed to disclose the details of their sale of vaccines to the Department of Health in spite of the reported non-disclosure agreements between manufacturers and the DOH. The big question is, will China or Sinovac, etc., or Sinopharm equally comply? Ayun po. Okay. And the photo at the top of the front page of the Philippine Star, students perform during Christmas cantata 2022 at the Rafael Palma Elementary School in Manila yesterday. So yan po, sigurado na magiging Pasko na sa mga eskwela this coming week. Okay, 70 billion in budget realigned. Okay, the Bicameral Conference Committee realigned some 70 billion in the 2023 budget, which President Marcos is expected to sign this week. Okay, Pangandaman noted that lawmakers realigned roughly 70 billion from the proposed budget. So ang tanong, saan napunta? We will try to find out more details. Okay, still regarding the president, ito po, napapag-usapan to kahapon. President Bongbong Marcos catches cold in Belgium. Sinipon po si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos delivered remarks in a squeaky voice with a runny nose in at least 2 events in Brussels, Belgium last Tuesday as he developed a cold after 2 days of below freezing temperature. Ayan na po yung sinasabi natin to many individuals who have been traveling a lot. Whether you are traveling from Manila to Brussels or Pampanga to Batangas like some of my friends, if you just keep staying up all night, working, traveling, etc., and especially during this Christmas holidays, chances are you too will be included in the list of those who will come down with the cold. I hope not the flu or even COVID. So mag-ingat po tayo. Meanwhile, economic team of Malacanang to seek World Bank, ADB, IMF views on the proposed Maharlika Fund, okay, or the Maharlika Investment Fund. Budget Secretary Amina Pangandaman said the economic team recognizes the wisdom to seek various development partners' opinion regarding this. So, ayan po, opinion ba o way out? Okay. Meanwhile, the Ateneo Blue Eagles soared once again and forced a rubber match versus the Maroons. Parang winner-take-all match versus UP Maroons. And that will once again prove to be very exciting. Okay. And regarding local bureaucracy, two COMELEC executives, 3 cabinet members get the approval of the Commission on Appointments, namely Nelson Celis, Ernesto Maceda Jr., as well as Housing Secretary Jose Rizalino Acuzar, Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista, and Economic Planning Secretary Arsenio Balisacan. Senate denounces China over WPS harassment. Okay, the Senate has adopted a resolution denouncing what is called the continued act of harassment and encroachment by China in the West Philippine Sea. Ayan po, kahit ituloy-tuloy po natin yan, walang mangyayari dahil ini-snub ng China yung Pilipinas sa diplomatic protest, Senate protest, etc. Okay, and last but not the least, that photo in the bottom of the front page, we have Holy Rosary Chapel at SM Makati. Just in time for Christmas, shoppers at SM Makati can now pray and attend regular services and Simbang Gabi or Dawn Masses at the newly dedicated Our Lady of the Most Holy Rosary Chapel on the 3rd level of SM Makati. Ayan po. So that's about all we have on the front page of the Philippine Star. I think the most important warning or point in the front page is please take care of your health this coming days. Drink your vitamins, especially vitamin C. Rest. Matulog din po kayo. Huwag puro kain at party. Okay, let's now go to our topic for the day. And in case you haven't heard or read the news item on the matter, it was reported last week that persons with disabilities and their families apparently are spending more money than the average Filipino family, not just because of the pandemic, but because of the complications and difficulties that arise with caring for a person with disability. Kumbaga, hindi lang po physically challenging, emotionally challenging, but also financially challenging. And it seems to be one of those things that government and the private sector have overlooked. Kumbaga, akala natin, may ayuda, may tulong sa barangay, etc. But apparently, it is more than that. Okay, so let's talk about the subject matter and let's introduce our guest for today.
Attorney Rowena Guanzon currently serves as the first nominee of the Pamilya Pasyente at Persons with Disabilities, also known as the P3PWD party list. Prior to this, Guanzon served as one of the commissioners of the Commission on Elections. She was also a commissioner over at the Commission on Audit from 2013 to 2015. Ryan Gersava is the founder and chairman of Virtualahan, an online vocational school for PWDs, persons who are recovering from alcohol and substance use disorder, and others who struggle landing a job. For his efforts in championing inclusivity, Gersava was selected as a TED Fellow and an honoree for Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia for social impact.
Okay, welcome, Commissioner Guanzon. Welcome back to the program. And for Ryan, welcome. Thank you for joining us here for the first time. So, good morning to both of you.
Maayong buntag. Good morning.
Okay, Commissioner, can I just do an audio check with you? Hi, in case parang naka-mute ka yata.
Yeah. You got it?
Yep, there we go. Okay, let me start with you, Commissioner. What is this report we picked up that parang in spite of all that is being done regarding PWDs in the Philippines, the families or caregivers are apparently spending much more financially than is known. What is the truth to this report?
I think that report is probably even underestimated in terms of figures because the government, specifically the National Council for Disability Affairs, does not have the complete data on how many persons with disabilities we have. Now, the problem really, Cito, is that this government has long ignored this problem of lack of sufficient or adequate care and funds for persons with disability, including those with social psychological illnesses, because those really malaking ano po yun, bawas sa income ng pamilya yung mga gamot. Kung titingnan natin ngayon, ang tingin nila lagi sa persons with disability, charity. Ayaw na namin yung charity kasi hindi naman dapat charity, dapat katungkulan ng gobyerno yan. Dapat po ang kapakanan ng may mga kapansanan ay dapat po karapatan po namin yan, nila yan na pagtuunan ng pansin ng gobyerno. Pero tingnan mo. Lagi na lang ng national government ina-undercut ang budget sa persons with disability. Tingnan mo yung SPED budget na sa special education. Kung hindi pa kami nag-ingay-ingay dyan, at sa tulong din ni Senator Angara, Senator Loren Legarda at ni Pia, ay hindi na balik yung 518 million budget ng special education. Eh dyan nag-aaral yung mga batang bulag, batang pipi, alam mo, yung batang may mga special learning disabilities, no? Maliit nga yan eh. So, ang ginagawa namin sa network namin ngayon, nag-organize kami, nag-strengthen kami ng organizations namin para po nga may boses kami sa gobyerno at makapag-network kami sa mga services. So, kunyari, yung virtualan dyan nila, yung employment training or opportunities, mga private sector na gustong tumulong. Marami pa kaming volunteers sa physical therapists saka occupational therapists. At yun po, private sector initiative na. Kasi nga yung gobyerno, matagal na, kahit na nasa SONA sinabi ni BBM na priority ang PWD, wala naman eh. Puro dada eh. Di ba? Kaya ayaw na namin ng charity. Kailangan po karapatan po ng persons with disability ang makakuha naman ng adequate na serbisyo sa gobyerno. At sana po nga ang families with disability may subsidy sa income through let's say medical care or ano. Pero tingnan mo yung mga ospital natin, punong-puno. Pag nag-schedule ka ng surgery mo sa anak mo, magsara lang ng colostomy magsara lang it will take months. Linya ka dyan sa PGH. Philippine Children's Medical, 7 years na ako dyan, every Christmas ako, nagsusponsor ako ng Christmas party dyan, tsaka mga therapy. Kulang na kulang po ang ating mga government hospitals. Dagdagan nila dapat ng budget yan. Kaya sinasabi nyo, burdened ang mga pamilya. Totoo po yun, lalo na nung pandemic na nakat yung income ng mga pamilya na may PWD dahil hindi lang po sa pera, sa gastos sa medical care, kundi sa pagod, psychological, tsaka po sa stress ng pag-physically care sa mga may kapansanan sa kanilang pamilya. Kailangan po talaga ng tulong nila.
Okay.
Kailangan ng tulong.
Ryan, could you add to that explanation or picture, no? Ano ba ang situation? Because you're a very young representative of PWDs and from your perspective, ano ba yung situation for PWDs? Because while I was listening to Commissioner Guanzon, it struck me that we only see the PWD, but we rarely realize that because there is a PWD, there is one person who probably won't have a life also. Kumbaga, nakatali siya sa pag-aalaga dun sa PWD, hindi siya makapagtrabaho sa opisina, etc. So, Ryan, could you please add to that picture?
Yes po. Bigyan ko po kayo ng very concrete example. In my case, I am spending 5 to 10,000 pesos on medications alone monthly. 2 to 5,000 pesos for therapies monthly. That's almost already the minimum wage that a regular person earns here in the Philippines. Now, let's look at it in a global perspective. 1 in 7 person in the world has a disability. That's around 1 billion people. Their economic inactivity is costing our global economy 1.3 to 1.9 US trillion dollars simply because we are not including them in the economic participation. So, yung bagong research na inilabas ng DSWD and UNICEF around Filipino families raising persons with disability, it has so many layers. It's a systemic problem na kailangan natin i-unpack. Number 1, there's access. So, according sa study na yun, number 1 cost of expenses ng mga families with disabilities on healthcare. As kung titingnan natin, yes, healthcare is the main contributor, but there's multiple layers to that. There's transportation access kasi primarily yung mga hospitals that can cater to the medical needs of persons with disability nakukuha lang or available lang sa main cities and municipalities. O kumusta naman yung ating mga persons with disabilities that lives in rural areas. And then second is the disposable income na meron ang family mismo. So around 80% of persons with disability live in developing countries like the Philippines and have very low economic inactivity, putting them at a greater risk of insufficient social protection that is key to reducing extreme poverty. Kaya yung sinabi sa report na most families living that are raising children with disabilities are poorer compared to an average Filipino is very true. Kasi if you're another study from UNESCO says that 90% of children with disabilities do not attend school. So if they do not attend school, they need someone to take care of them. If they need someone to take care of them, hindi lang yung person with disability ang walang economic inactivity, pati na yung family members nila. Which is funny if you think na persons with disabilities, with their families and friends, together has a global purchasing power of an estimated around $8 trillion US. So if you look at this, it doesn't make sense because an investment in persons with disability has so much return. Kaya I really support yung sinabi ni Attorney Guanzon kanina that we should look at disability as a form of investment versus as a form of charity. Kasi if you invest in persons with disabilities, in families of persons with disabilities, you are lifting the most disadvantaged member of our society up. And once we invest in them, everybody actually benefits.
Okay, Commissioner Guanzon, how do we change the mentality from mendicancy, from charity to the disabled, to recognizing that people with disability did not choose that situation, that they can still participate and they can still contribute, or at least man lang recognize the others who are helping them? Because I have interviewed disabled people in the program and ang laging pagod yung nag-aalaga eh.
Alam mo, ang tingin ko, dapat una poverty alleviation. Kasi yung mga PWD na kailangan talaga ng tulong, yun naman po mga poor talaga, mga pigado ba. So, poverty alleviation talaga. Kaya yung NEDA, dapat na ipapasok na yung investment sa PWD dyan sa economic plan for the country. Yun yung sinasabi ng friend natin. Poverty alleviation, malaking bagay yan sa PWD sa macro view.
Mhm.
Pero hindi lang yung tingin ng tao yung discrimination. Kailangan diyan poverty alleviation, access hindi lang sa economic what do you call this rights, kundi dun sa sinasabi niya transpo, di ba? Transportation, physical access, di ba? Ang daming obstacles to development ng mga PWD. Yung physical access is ano lang yan, yun yung pinaka-visible Pero yung mga pang-eskwela, hindi makapasok ng eskwela. Pero mo, may bata akong ngayon, talagang hero ko siya, si Joey Iriga de Leon. 20s na rin siya, cerebral palsy, naka-wheelchair. He can text you using his toes. And he plays boccia for the ASEAN Games using his feet as his hands. He picks up the ball and throws it with his hands. The way that he can communicate, because he can hear but he cannot speak, is to have a tablet. Of course, he could not afford it. So when I met him, I bought that tablet. Yesterday, nandun kami sa Marikina, nakapagsalita na siya through an app na yung text niya lumalabas as boses na lalaki doon sa app na yon. So nakakapagsalita siya, and he's a leader, he's PWD Federation President. Yung mga technology ba na pwedeng magamit ng mga blind people, ng mga mute people who cannot speak or cannot hold things with their hands, using their feet. A lot of them, I know at least 3 people who have no hands but they boat with their feet. And Joey also boats with his toes. Technology access, lahat yan. Investment yan, poverty alleviation, access sa physical, technology, sa medical care, yung sinasabi naming disability allowance fund, Cito, na gusto naming ipasa dyan sa Kongreso. Maliit lang yun na bagay sa gobyerno. Kaya lang, kung ano iniisip naman nila, may mga Maharlika investment fund. Kung ang PWD kaya investment fund nyo, di ba? Parang, mali yung priorities dahil we are a poor country, deficit tayo, tapos hindi pa napapagtuunan ng tama at sufficient na pansin yung kailangan ng PWD.
How
Yung
true is
Disability Support Fund, mahirapan na naman kami ipasa dyan kasi siyempre papasok yan sa General Appropriations Act next year, di ba? Kaya we're calling on the LGUs, please ma'am, sir, mga mayors na mga first to third class cities, baka pwede naman po na LGU na lang muna ang magbibigay ng disability allowance dyan sa inyong mga residents.
Okay, how true is it that families who end up having a person with disability becomes poorer? Sabi mo kanina, Ryan, na mahirap na lalo pang naghihirap. What's happening?
Sa community namin sa Virtualahan, most families with disabilities spend significant percentage of their income on therapies, maintenance medicine, and other medical procedures. So if you add that on top of mahal ang bilihin, we are facing a lot of crisis, COVID-19 pandemic, mas napupush ang mga persons with disability pababa sa poverty line. So, we really need to address yung economic development, not just ng mga persons with disability, but also their family members, so that they can cope up sa mga bilihin na to. Ang nangyayari kasi, they become very dependent on government aids and mga corporate donations kasi wala naman silang other na maaasahan. When you were talking about the mindset, no, paano natin nakikita that persons with disability is not seen as a charity case, that we will see it as an investment. Kasi for the longest time since disability has been here, we don't see, para sineseparate natin yung identity nila sa identity ng persons without disability. Where in fact, according sa study, in countries na 70 years old ang life expectancy, individuals on average spend 8 years of their lives living with disability. What does that tell us? Disability is a part of the diversity of human experience. Just like our gender, just like our race, disability is part of our identity as well.
So, kahit ano pang sabihin natin, whether pinanganak kang may disability or nabuhay ka up to 70, 80 years old, at when you reach near the finish line, you will also become a person with disability. So, reality ang disability. Now, Commissioner Guanzon, how do you propose to go about this? Because alam mo yung mga pilosopong politiko ang lagi sagot sa pare meron namang PhilHealth pare meron nang pangtawid pamilya program, etc. What's your reaction to that, Commissioner?
Hindi nga sapat. Saka yun nga, yung pagtingin ba na, di bali na, PWD naman yan hanggang dyan lang yan sila. Pambira naman kayo di ba? PWD na nga, ganun pa ang tingin nyo. Hindi lamang not only our government officials, especially the budget, yung mga congressmen at senators. Yung private sector, I'm also appealing to them na in your recruitment process, all things being equal, pareho naman silang may kakayahan, magtanong kayo, do you have a person with disability in your immediate family? At kung meron, mag-affirmative action kayo, i-hire nyo yung may PWD sa family. Tsaka yung mga employers po, yun pang isang gusto kong gawin na if I can make the rounds, mag-a-appeal ako sa kanila to hire more persons with disability. Kagaya nung friend ko, yung Angel's Burger, mag-hire na siya. Yung Sikis, nag-hire ng PWD. Yung Lingnam, meron akong deaf-mute doon na busboy na nakita. Pero kukonti. Government, 1% sabi sa civil service. 1%? Every 100 employees, isa lang. Kaya nung nasa Comelec kami, talagang I advocated inclusiveness Hindi lang sa gender, sexual orientation, lalo na sa disability. May empleyado ako pag naupo lang ng 10 minutes, yung 30 minutes niya, lakad lang ng lakad. Sabi ko sa kanila, di habang naglalakad dyan, ibigyan nyo ng trabaho kasi gusto niya maglakad pwede naman siya magbasa na naglalakad. In other words, i-adapt natin ang ating mga work methods at procedures sa mga taong may disability pero who are qualified, may kakayahan. Marami po matatalino dyan.
Okay.
Hindi lang na binibigyan ng opportunity for work employment. Pero I'm calling on our congressmen and our senators po.
Okay,
ibahin naman natin ito para maging we make a difference naman taasan naman ninyo ang budget ng lahat ng services na pangangailangan ng persons with disability at suriin po ninyo bakit po walang Ritalin sa market. Lagi nagsushort ang Ritalin sa market. Importante po yan sa mga batang may ADHD, di ba? Ang hirap po kaya i-manage ang batang may ADHD. Last month, walang Ritalin sa market. Bakit?
Commissioner.
Tingnan niya na DOH. Kasi yung mga drugs na yan, meds na yan, ang taas-taas sa ibang bansa, bakit mababa? Bakit sa India mababa? Dito, bakit ganyan kamahal ang mga medicine? Dapat suriin din yan ng ating gobyerno.
Okay, let's go for a quick break, Commissioner. Pagbalik natin, Ryan, let's discuss that point of affirmative action because that has been a program adopted in different countries and also tax breaks for private sector who invest in PWDs. Let's go for a quick break. We'll be right back here on Agenda.
Tama.
Welcome back to the program Agenda, the platform for sectors without a voice, the platform for people who need representation more than the politicians. Okay, let's welcome back our guest, Ryan Gersava. I hope I pronounced that right, Ryan. Gersava, founder and chairman of Virtualahan, and Rowena Guanzon, first representative of the P3 PWD party list. Okay, before we get into the affirmative action and the suggestion I was making about tax breaks for private sector investing in PWDs, how true is it that practically every Filipino family, directly or indirectly, has one member or relative who is a PWD? Commissioner Rowena.
I think that's generally that is correct because yun nga, when people age, like my parents are very active, but when they reach 92, my mother became bedridden. So as we age, talagang we have to care for the elderly and they become disabled. Aside from that, talagang may mga families na you have invisible disabilities, no, like socio-psychological disorders. Children with autism, they hindi natin alam kung bakit na may autism, but some also develops lumalabas ang schizophrenia at between the ages of 17 to 30, no? So maraming families talaga po na directly or indirectly, ibig sabihin sa pamangkin, diba? Hindi sa immediate family, may mga persons with disability at napakarami po ngayon sa bilang ng mga children with special needs. Una, ang pinakamarami, children with autism, tsaka Down syndrome. Pero ang pinakakawawa po talaga yung may cerebral palsy dahil hindi po makasalita, hindi makagalaw,
But those are the extreme cases, Commissioner Rowena, Ryan. Ano? Kasi,
I agree with you na every family directly in the immediate or that indirectly sa kanilang mga pinsan pamangkin have persons with disability.
Yeah. Okay, Ryan, how about on your side? Because from our side, I have a nephew who is legally blind. I have a sister who is going to be a PWD because of vision problems as well. And I know people na pag tiningnan mo, okay. Pero yung pala may tama sa spine, may tama sa ulo or whatever. What about you, Ryan?
Yes, I think kailangan natin i-acknowledge na disability as part of diversity of human experience. Hindi lang yung pinanganak na may disability ang may persons with disability. You can acquire it through accidents or aging. Disability, like one study says that 70% of all disabilities are non-apparent. Non-apparent meaning it's not directly visible, it's not obvious, but it's there. Katulad ng bipolar disorder, katulad ng those that experience chronic illnesses that became disability. Yes, disability touches all of us one way or another. Kaya dapat we should acknowledge it as a universal topic. Hindi natin siya isa-siloed na ito, disability issue siya, ibang issue siya compared sa at ibang issues na pinag-uusapan natin.
Okay, let's go to solutions, Ryan. Commissioner Guanzon, Commissioner, you're talking about taking affirmative action in the US to solve the inequality of employment. Congress legislated for and a particular president, I can't remember who, but pushed for affirmative action, meaning you as a company have to employ a person of color, whether you like it or not, you have to do it. And apparently it seemed to have helped open the doors in many areas. Now, affirmative action for PWD, how can we go about it? Do we give tax breaks, tax deductions for companies who invest or employ PWDs?
Well, in this country, you always need a law to make people comply. So that's very important. And that's where your tax breaks will go dun sa law. In fact, yung discount na yan sa PWD for a while, nagre-resist yung mga companies. Pero since may ano sila, they have a way of compensating for that dun sa taxes nila at saka accounting nila. Eventually, tingnan mo, naayos naman, and thanks to Senator Edgardo Angara, di ba? That's his legacy. Pero, yung sinasabi natin legislation, mostly sa government yan, na mga employers, ang mapapakomply natin. Pero yung private sector, pwede rin by law, pero without a law, kailangan magtrabaho na tayo ngayon, yung mga employers associations at saka labor unions to advocate for this affirmative action ng hiring. Kasi pwede naman pong mag-research. Tingnan yung Walmart sa Amerika. Walmart, di ba?
Yeah.
Pagpasok mo sa Walmart, merong naka-wheelchair doon. Hi, welcome to Walmart. How may I help you? Tao yun. PWD yun, di yun robot. So required ang Walmart. It became a policy for Walmart na meron siyang PWD na nag-greet sa customers niya pagpasok. Hindi ba pwede yun nandyan sa receptionist mo, sa information desk mo, hindi ba pwedeng PWD yan? Kasi laptop lang naman yan concierge, where is this store? Ganyan.
Okay,
diba?
but okay,
so,
Ryan.
Yeah. Affirmative action in terms of legislation, policy, technology, assistance.
Okay. Ryan, what have you seen out there in terms of the suggestion of Commissioner Guanzon, affirmative action? Do companies that employ PWDs give good feedback?
Yes, based on our experience, people that employ persons with disability reported na persons with disability tend to become a good investment kasi they stay on their job. They're loyal on their job kasi there's not a lot of job opportunities for them. So once you employ them in your company, they stay on your company and they grow in your company. And I think just to respond on the question, what we should improve as part of this affirmative action is the database. Yan yung pinakamalaking problema natin kasi we don't have statistics, credible data to present to legislators to say na ganito dapat yung return of investment for investing in persons with disability. Because our database magulo at this point. So we really need to have that very strong data management system from data collection to data reporting so that we have a stronger argument once we present a business case towards investment in persons with disability. Second is we need to push for persons with disability commission. Gawin na natin commission ang persons with disability from currently yung status is National Council on Disability Affairs under DSWD. With that, mas mabibigyan ng tugon, mas mabibigyan ng atensyon ang mga needs ng persons with disability once it becomes a commission. And then we have existing policies already for persons with disability. We are the first country in Asia to have Magna Carta on persons with disability signed in 1992, mandating companies to actually employ 1% of the workforce to be persons with disability. And we are a signatory sa UN Disability.
But what is the reality, Commissioner Guanzon? Because maganda yung sinabi ni Ryan, pero what is the reality? And you being in Congress, what is the possibility of a commission?
I'm not yet in Congress, because Cardema filed a petition in the Supreme Court, and the Speaker did not include my name in the roll, even if they said there are no acts assailed upon. Anyway, it's in the Supreme Court. So, ang problem that Ryan is saying, yung lack of yung accurate data, tama yun. Kasi yung NCDA, for a long time, it just depends on the LGU for the data also. So dapat strengthen yung mga persons with disability affairs offices sa mga LGU. Require them to have these disability affairs offices every town and city, no matter how poor. pwede namang mag-designate lang dyan, acting eh. Basta merong focal person dyan. And that's what the P3PWD is advocating to all LGUs. And we would like, sana, to have an opportunity with the League of Cities, the League of Municipalities. Number 2, gusto ko sana, to pass a law. Ang Congress mag-pass ng law na like gender, which has set 5% of your total budget, yung gender and development, maglagay din ng 5% of the total budget of all national agencies, government corporations, and local government units na for rights and concerns of PWD.
Wait a
Kasi
minute,
that way
Commissioner.
you get the
Time out.
sufficient pie.
Yeah, time out,
Share the
Commissioner. I'm just curious. I have to ask you this question. Ganon ba kadami ang PWD sa Pilipinas? Do we have that many people? Because some people think...
Alam mo, si Carmen Subiaga is our consultant for policy and networking. You know Carmen Subiaga, di ba? Formerly executive director of CDA. Tinanong ko siya, estimate niya is 2 million. Eh, magkailan lang dyan ang nabibilang ng NCDA. Kaya si Senator Amy Marcos, she threatened the NCDA. If we don't come up with the data, I will block your budget. Totoo naman. We estimate 2 million. They're just not counted. So yung Philippine Statistics Authority, I spoke with the USEC there, kay Bisaya man. I told him, yung household survey mo ba nakalagay dyan kung ilan ang PWD? Sabi niya, yes ma'am. Sabi, you better produce that study, that survey. Kasi padala mo sa NEDA, padala mo sa amin, padala mo sa Congress so that mabibilang natin kung magkano ba talaga, magkano in terms of peso magkano dapat per PWD. So in the meantime, pass a law that the LGUs and all parang God budget, all government agencies and government corporations, maglaan ng required sila, minimum 5% their total budget for
Ryan.
PWD rights and concerns.
Ryan, many people...
For example, you know how that will work? They will hire PWD kasi ikbibilang nila yung salary dyan doon sa PWD rights na 5%. You see?
Kasi may pera na.
I-audit sila ng COA, kagaya ng GAD. Ino-audit yan Sabihin ng COA, you are not spending enough for GAD. Pag may 5% ka for PWD, sabihin ng COA, you're not spending enough for PWD. 1% lang na spend mo dyan, government corporation, dagdagan mo yan next year. It works if your government systems work. And to do that, you have to have a law requiring them where to put their money. And we are asking 5% of their total income for PWD rights and concerns, like the GAD budget, which the GAD budget works.
Okay, time out. Ryan, ikaw naman. Ryan, private people in the private sector or even in government, they don't know where to start. Many people, may have the heart, may recognize PWDs, pero parang, saan natin ilalagay yung PWD? Ano bang mga trabaho? What functions can they perform? Where can we position them? Okay, ang cute na asa mo, Commissioner. Anyway, Ryan.
Yes.
13 years old.
Yung best positioning ng mga talents with disability, let's provide them jobs that they can do at home, work from home. So I think the pandemic has opened that opportunity to many Filipinos, but we have been doing it sa Virtualahan since 2015. We are creating job opportunities to persons with disabilities so that they can work as graphic designers, website developers, social media marketers, e-commerce managers. This job that does not require 4-year college degree to get into, but these jobs are really on demand in the market. Cito, the Philippines is the most preferred outsourcing destination in the world because of our good work ethics and ang ating good communication skills. Let us take advantage of that. Let us create more jobs in the IT BPM industry that will create more jobs for persons with disability.
What about
Virtuala? Yeah?
What about in government? Kasi, I see so many gaps lacking in government Yun lang kukontakin mo, di ba? Yung contact tracing lang.
Yes.
Sabi ko, hello, does this require a rocket scientist, etc.? But what are the jobs that both of you know can be done by PWDs?
To me, all jobs can be actually done by persons with disability. Walang separation. Ang kailangan lang natin, we need to invest in accessibility so that they can actually perform their jobs. So there's no distinction on that. I have a website developer, Cito, na who's legally blind, completely blind, but because merong accessibility feature yung computer niya, he can actually code, right? So, in terms of what kind of jobs, lahat ng trabaho pwede nating ibigay to certain talents with disabilities. Ang kailangan, ang mas pagtuunan natin ng pansin, can we make the jobs accessible so that they can actually perform it?
Okay, because I guess that question of mine is very revealing because I still think, I have to admit it, I still think in old school terms na pag sinabi mong PWD, bulag, pipi, bingi, kulang-kulang ang mga parte ng kamay. But there are people with disability, okay, they may be wheelchair bound, but they have their hands, their eyes, and their senses. There are people who cannot speak, but they can hear and they can work with their hands. They are artists, etc. So, you're right. You know, why are we? But Commissioner Guanzon, why is it a problem? Why is it a challenge? Why are let's start with government. Why are public offices not hiring them proactively? Why do we need a law for them to just hire kung kaya naman nilang gawin?
Because of yung civil service, yung 1% lang yung required niya. Dapat taas na yun eh. Taas ng civil service yun eh. Chairman Nograles, you listening, sir? Dapat itaas niya yun eh. Kasi hindi naman pwedeng kung 1% lang eh. Ilan lang yun. Taas nyo naman yun ng minimum ng 10%. Kasi marami naman, as Ryan said, dapat yung trabaho, the work should be adapted to fit the PWD's capacity. Kasi that's the only way na, the big picture na is affirmative action. Eh. Hindi pwede yung, magagawa ko, wala siyang kamay, di ba? Sir naman pwede naman siya magsalita kahit wala siyang kamay. Yung trabaho namang hindi kailangan ng kamay. O kaya, ito mo, yung bulag. Ryan, I saw the Philippine Blind Union with TESDA. I saw visually impaired, totally blind people assembling a desktop and repairing phones. Nagre-repair. Ako nga if I close my eyes, di ko na nga makita kung saan yung ballpen ko sila. Because they are trained. So you have to invest in skills training, ganyan. Hindi lang yung opportunity for employment. Invest din sa training nila para maka-develop naman sila, maka-improve naman sila. At maangat-angat yung kanilang kabuhayan sa pamilya nila.
Ryan, your comment.
Yes. I think babalik pa rin tayo doon sa database na kung meron tayong very strong evidence-based na mapapakita, it's easy for employers to employ talents with disabilities. Sa amin, companies like Microsoft, Accenture, all of these tech giant companies are employing persons with disabilities. If these multinational corporations are employing persons with disabilities, why can't you? No, as a small, medium enterprises, even the government, why can't you employ talents with disability? If we invest in changing the perception, especially ng ating mga decision makers towards disability, so that they can see disability as a human right, compared to seeing a disability as a charity, or saying disability is a purely medical issue that needs charity giving or aid. If we see this, that disability, just like you and me, have the same human right, then we have a chance of actually solving this problem.
You know, some of my favorite TV programs, movies, I just realized it, feature persons with disability or who are specially abled. I mean, the good doctor for one.
Yeah,
Diba?
perfect.
And then there are yung mga NCIS, mga crime, the people in wheelchairs doing all of this advanced cyber tech warfare, etc. And I'm saying to myself, dito sa Pilipinas, is the movie and the TV industry doing the same in their dramas? Kasi, kumbaga, yung Cardo, etc., yung mga kung ano-anong mga Korean adaptation, do you notice if Philippine cinema and television are doing its share to change the image of persons with disability?
Well, in the entertainment industry, there's really halos pintok lang yung mga PWD nakakasali, like that Little Princess na TV series ba yan? About a woman who is a little person. You call them little persons, people with dwarfism. Tayo, we are called average height. We're not normal height. We are called average height people. They are called little people. Yun lang alam ko, Little Princess. Because hindi nga attractive eh. Kasi the movie industry in the Philippines is action. Action. That's what sells, action. Hindi masyadong drama, action. Tsaka entertainment. Pero ang dami namang PWD, magagaling kumanta. Pwede naman nilang bigyan ng break.
Okay, well, we're down to a few minutes, Commissioner and Ryan. Ryan, I'll give you the chance to just give your message to our viewers, because we want Agenda to become your platform for PWD people.
Yes, I would like to start by let us acknowledge disability issue as a universal topic. Magtanong tayo sa mga family members natin, sa mga friends natin, mga kakilala natin na may disability. How can we better support you? And then once we address those needs, let us take action sa mga small actions natin. It can create a ripple. Second is I want to appeal to our employers. Give persons with disability a chance. Yun lang po yung hinihingi namin. Give us a chance so that we can prove our value to your companies. And then we will not disappoint. And third is to our leaders and decision makers. It's time. It's 2022 already. Let us take disability issue very seriously. We know that companies and countries that invest in persons with disability are in better position. So it's not even a question anymore. It's a question of when are you going to act on this. And to everyone, let us invest in building the future that leaves no one behind. When we talk about leaving no one behind, let's put persons with disability as our priority.
Okay,
Yes.
this isn't the first. It won't be the last. Commissioner Guanzon, Ryan, Gersava, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Tuloy ang laban.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Okay.
you, Cito. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ryan. Kape.
Opo.
Thank you
Maraming
very much.
salamat.
Let's now go to our blessing for the week. And we leave you with this week's blessing. The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land and will strengthen your frame. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. I'm Cito Beltran, thanking you for joining us this day and appealing to all of you. Please don't look at people with disabilities as invalids, as people who have no capabilities. Because whether you believe it or not, I am a PWD. You don't see it, but I can show it to you if you ever ask me in person. Please take care of others. God bless all of you. Keep it here on One News.